Anyways, we cannot deny the fact that teenagers are highly exposed to the global culture, and this type of exposure may instead be disadvantageous. It shakes our certainties, questions our feeling of identity, and it changes us. The question is, ladies and gentlemen, what exactly are the emerging dangers of cultural globalization? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clea Yenifer, and today I'm going to be delivering a speech on how teenagers are affected by cultural globalization through their use of smartphones. So, cultural globalization refers to the process of transmission of values, ideas, meanings, cultural and artistic expressions around the world. It refers specifically to the idea that there's now a global monoculture. With the rapid development in science and technology, globalization has had not only benefits but has also imposed disadvantages by introducing change to our cultures. There are two main points that I would like to cover today. First is on cultural homogenization. Cultural homogenization could lead to the development of a single global culture and the elimination of all other local cultures becoming the same. The danger of this is that it eliminates cultural diversity as it seeks to eliminate differences between people and instead coerces them into maintaining a one mind, one voice, one world myopic view through hearsay. If we were to merely agree with one another on everything presented to us, we eliminate our capacity for vision, revision, and ultimately promote a new way to view our humanity and our world. This influence is especially consequential towards teenagers who are still in the process of developing their own identities. It adversely affects teenagers who are still trying to develop fixed grounds on shaping their own perspectives and their capacity to expand their thoughts, to think outside the box, and to view things differently and uniquely. Teenagers are the most influenced by this issue. Cultural homogenization diminishes diversity that is supposed to be present through abundant cultures. Such a radical undermining of people's existing values and cultures has a corrosive impact on teenagers' sense of who they are, what they want, and what they respect. It disrupts our feeling of identity, making us teenagers lose track of who we actually are. It generates uncertainties, and at this age, not to mention due to our vulnerability, it will bring bigger consequences by influencing who we actually are. Our beliefs, our values, our norms, our customs, all of these diversities will cease to exist and will be superseded by a single global culture. Now, ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine what the world would be like if every single person on this planet had the same culture, the same language, the same religion, habits? Where is the diversity? No more traditional cuisines, traditional festivals, music, art. With cultural homogenization, the word uniqueness amongst cultures will be no more. Now, why is it that teenagers are the most influenced by this issue? Well, teenagers have not developed a fixed standpoint yet. We are in the process of establishing a sense of identity in what is essentially an insecure world. And this underlying instability may serve to magnify the tensions and lack of control that we experience daily. Cultural homogenization affects teenagers disproportionately, given our tenuous transitional status within an uncertain and rapidly evolving global context. The youth culture, superficially dominated by musical tastes, slang, fashion, and objectionable hairstyles, is nothing but an artifact of growing up. What makes them now unique is that they have an open communication platform at their fingertips that allows them to communicate and connect on a global scale with other people. The web has become a place where teenagers find opportunities to explore and express their identities and navigate their way through the values that are on offer around them. This is where cultural homogenization appears as dangerous due to teenagers' vulnerability to exposure through the digital world. The second point that I would like to make is regarding the loss of traditional cultures. Many cultures across the globe are slowly diminishing due to the overwhelming effects of cultural globalization. Study shows that many cultures and indigenous languages are on the verge of becoming extinct due to cultural globalization. About 2,500 out of 5,000 indigenous languages are in danger of becoming extinct, and many more are losing their link in the natural world. Researchers estimate that 90% of the languages in the world will have become extinct in the next 100 years. That is exactly why we teenagers play a crucial role in preserving the traditional cultures to keep it alive. Without us learning it, who will preserve the existing, or shall I say endangered, cultures? Nowadays, most teenagers often forget what they should do during traditional festivals, or they would even forget about cultural norms and habits like simple courtesies or table manners. The prime reason for this issue is technology. Technology is ingrained in people's, especially teenagers, day-to-day life. Teenagers may often become too attached to their smartphones. A survey report from Common Sense Media showed that 50% of all teens being surveyed admitted that they are addicted to their smartphones. With all this exposure, it becomes relatively easy for teenagers to get adversely affected due to their vulnerability. These teenagers extract their cultures from Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even TikTok. They are constantly on, constantly promoting themselves, and are constantly connected. What young people are doing in the digital world when they gossip and socialize is intensively monitoring what everyone else is doing and what everyone else is saying. Now, this is far from being a bad thing. However, what do you think these teenagers are going to do when they are exposed to what others are doing, what they are sharing, their cultures and identities? They are going to imitate. They are going to get influenced by the global culture and will begin to develop a new perspective on things. They are going to stray further away and most possibly abandon their own traditional cultures. They will use this global culture as a reference to shape their beliefs, their perspectives, and their values. This causes us to be less familiar with our own traditional cultures. As a result, these local and distinctive cultures may fade. It is increasingly evident that globalization has contributed to the erosion of many cultural beliefs. In fact, cultural globalization has been cited as a key contributing factor to the extinction of many cultures. With the current condition, we will certainly lose our traditional cultures in the near future. However, what if I tell you that we teenagers have the power and the ability to avert these dangers? How, you might ask? We must execute the phrase protect and spread. We must protect our local cultures and we must spread our knowledge of our own cultures to other people. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we can avert the dangers. That is how we can prevent and overcome the perils of cultural globalization. As Wade Davis once said, indeed, a culture survives when it has enough confidence in its past and enough say in its future to maintain its spirit and essence through all the changes it will inevitably undergo. Overcoming the dangers of cultural globalization will be advantageous towards teenagers to be able to achieve great things without having uncertainties, without having a homogenized perspective that imposes boundaries on us, and without having to lose our identity and our traditional cultures. But in order for this to happen, we teenagers must lead the change, and most importantly, we must be the change. That is all from me. Good afternoon and thank you.